common marker.
We're at Grove Studios in Ypsilanti for another podcast session. Welcome to Grove, and this is the spot that the podcast, as I've mentioned, has been taking place since October of 2020. If you're new to the podcast, well, something in common that my guests have is that in my eyes, they're all deserving of larger status than they typically have, or have the room's size they play typically smaller than I would expect. Or stated differently, how is it that I have access to the people that I'm talking to half the time that have this much talent? Born in Pontiac, raised in Waterford, attended Clarkston High School before he left Michigan. He grew up listening to WRIF, much like myself, WLLZ for me as well. I don't know about you. Playing loud guitars, eventually had a mouse for a boss. And my guest today is Tony Lucca. Tony, it is so good to have you here.
Great to see you again, man.
It's been a few years of asking when you're in the area, can you swing by? And today, somehow it worked out. Must be between tour dates and
precisely
taking away a little family time, because you still have family in Michigan, right?
I do, yeah. In fact, I'm just spending a couple days with my family, my mom and dad. Don't get to see them nearly as much as I'd like to anymore, and so I had a few days off in between weekends of tour dates, and said, "Hey, I'm coming through."
They live in the Lake Orion area, don't they?
No, Clarkston. They live
not
near
far.
Clarkston, so not far from Lake Orion. So yeah.
It works for me.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm in the minority of people who have discovered you the way that you probably would rather people discover you. I heard music from you first. I got a record sent to me at my old radio station, and you came to visit me with, at the time, your tour mate, Ernie Halter.
Yeah. And
the two of you did a session with me, and you both had records out on the Rock Ridge record label.
That's right.
And I loved both records, and that's how I discovered your music, not through some of your past or anything you'd done. After it was because of this record that caught my attention, which, again, I assume that's the way you'd prefer people find your music.
Indeed, man. You always want to think that the music leads the way, and then we can explain the other stuff later.
We got to talk a little bit about the other stuff, but the new album is called Heirloom, and I've got a copy here that I got off you online. Yeah. I assume we're going to play some songs from this.
We are, yeah, man. This one was a trip, really. I was due for another album for sure, but I didn't quite have the bandwidth or the ambition, maybe, really, to like go in, start from scratch, write a whole album's worth of stuff. It just wasn't really there with the songs sitting around waiting to be recorded, kind of thing, which is generally a shameful admission. Like, over the years, a lot of times when I make records, it's just because I've accrued enough songs to put together and find the ones that kind of fit and make a record. Ideally, you go in with a clean slate and you write an album's worth of stuff. I've always been like romanticized that approach to making albums, because I think that would just be awesome and a tremendous luxury to be able to afford to do that. Yeah. And I didn't have that. But what I did have was a ton of songs that through the pandemic and stuff, when we were all taken to live streaming, how many times can you play a week? How many times can you play the same song? Each week? And but I would often do like, hey, by request. I don't want to just sit here and thumb through my catalog and play songs. I think, what do you guys want to hear? And a lot of these songs that people would request and have requested over the years were songs that I never took to the studio. That either I put out on some bootleggy live recordings and things over the years, but I never gave them the full studio treatment. For some reason or another, I kind of dismissed them. Maybe I had insecurities about the songs. But I got to a point where I was like, you know what? Let's give them what they literally want.
Give the people what they want.
For years. So I said, maybe there's some value to these songs that I've overlooked, and clearly they've been, people have endeared them to their lives. I mean, like, there's got to be something there, and I think there's so much distance between me and a lot of these songs that I wasn't so precious anymore. I wasn't so caught up on whatever I was hung up on before. So it was nice to just go back with years of, production experience now and record making experience, to just be like, well, if there's a good song in there, I'm going to be able to find it. I'm going to be able to record it and make it do what it do, and that's what this was. So a lot of these songs, some of these songs, there's one on this album that goes back literally 30 years ago this year is when I wrote it. And come on, but I was we listened to the record the other day with a buddy of mine who's been there from the beginning. Like, he's just an old friend from high school, literally. And we came to one of the songs on the album, and he pushed pause. He's like, hang on a second. There's no way this wasn't on a CD before, because I know every bit of this song. How do I know every bit of this song? Like, man, I didn't play a show without this song for a lot of years, and you were there for a lot of those shows. I've never recorded it. And he said it was the total Mandela effect. Like, there's no way you didn't record this. So the songs were so familiar to the core fan base that they just, they flipped out when they saw the track listing. And then once they got to hear it and hear basically what I've been hearing in my head all these years, I'm playing these, the solo acoustic shows. I'm rocking out up there because in my head I can hear with the drums and the organs and the basses. So to actually bring those to life was just like, sitting down with old friends. It was really cool.
Great. Would you like to do one?
Sure, man.
That's why you have a guitar.
That's why I got the guitar. I guess what's bragging about it. The oldest song from the collection was one I wrote back in '96, man, and then strangely enough, when I went to go tour with In Sync back in 2002, playing like all these arenas, I had like a 20-minute set basically, and so I would play a few songs with tracks, backing tracks, but the acoustic and the vocal were live and played on top of it, and that was fine.
Fair.
But I would come out and play one by myself that I was just going to try to get people's attention with just me and the guitar. And this was that song, because like in a live setting, it was always, as a singer, it's a fun one to kind of get the crowd cooking and get people tuned into like, oh, this guy's making some noise over here. And it's just a basic blues song, but it was, again, so much fun to just revisit and throw down some chops on it and make it a fun song. It's always been a fun one and a big request over the years. So it's called In My Life Today. You always look so good in the morning when you wake up. Even after it seems the pillow stole your makeup. Still I can't describe how I feel deep down inside for you. You always smell so good, kissing on your fingers. Even when you're gone, the smell of you still lingers. Be okay if I could just say what I'm thinking of you. Tell me, do a shout it, let it out. Tell you about the fire burning in my heart. If I scream it, would it mean much more? Could have said it right from the start. If I tell you how well you gonna do when I come right out and say you're the finest little thing that I want in my life today. Yeah. You always look so nice in summer dress for any season. Touch your lipstick now for no apparent reason. You just find if I could find some time to ease my mind. Now you know I've always been one for words. Now I don't know what I'm gonna do. Keep on thinking how I'm gonna get my stinking point across to you. Tell me, when do I begin to speak from within about you? Tell me, do I shout it, let it out, to tell you about the fire burning in my heart? If I screamed it, would it mean much more? You said it right from the start. If I tell you what the heck you want to do when I come right out and say you're the finest little thing that I want in my life, I know it'd be right if I had you tonight. Girl, it's so true, I want only you in my life. Today,
A new old one from Tony Lucca, available on his 13th full-length record called Heirloom, finally available in my life today. Tony joining me on Acoustic Alternatives, the podcast, to talk about that and life in general.
Yeah.
This record has family, literal family on it.
Yeah, man, that was also part of the concept of it. When I thought of like heirloom, it was like, the idea of legacy and what you're leaving behind, and how music itself was just a gift, a thing that I was born into. My whole family was just a bunch of musicians and singers and players and a bunch of hams, a bunch of performers that love to get together and sing and play. And fortunately, both of my kids have musical talent. Go figure.
That's your daughter singing on that one track,
My daughter sings on it, which was...
She's got a great voice.
The biggest surprise, really, because she's got a good voice. She sings incessantly, like around the house, in the car. She's just always singing, which is great, and I love it, But she's not a performer per se. Like she's not in it for like getting up in front of people. She doesn't have social media. She's not like, hey, check me out, posting all the time. Nothing against it. Obviously, as an artist, that's what you got to do. But she doesn't have that interest yet. And so I said, hey, man, I'd love for you to sing on the record in some capacity. Really, if it's just some BGVs at some points, sing some harmonies, that'd be great. But I'd love to feature you on a song. Initially, we were going to do like a cover maybe. And then I was kind of scrolling through the other songs that I had sitting in the catalog, and I said, actually, this one's kind of perfect. And the sentiment was cute for like her brother's, my son, he sings the harmony on it. And so it was just cute for them to sing this sentiment together. And, just one of those opportunities that you get as a parent to just be with your kids in a truly unique way, and passing that on to them and showing them the ropes of what I do and how it feels to see something from beginning to end and completion and put it out in the world and be out there in the world.
Yeah.
It was wonderful, really cool. Got my folks on the record as well. My mom sang some harmonies. My dad sang. He took a lead on one of my older songs that I revisited for this album. And we've always had a pretty strong 3-part harmony, and I knew like this would be the perfect song for that. And so getting them on there, and on the album artwork, my daughter did the collage on the album, and there's pictures of like my grandparents, my parents, my kids. It's just really a wonderful, all holistic look at how to pass something on from one generation to the next.
So growing up, Lucca, there was music in your house growing up. Were you an only child, or did you have
No, I have an older sister, and she's got a pretty voice. But same thing. She never had the bug to get up in front of people, like never. We didn't realize how sweet her voice was until she had kids, and she would sing to them all the time. I'm like, come on, you've been holding it out, But no, it wasn't so much a Lucca thing. Even though my dad can sing and play, and he had really great musical talent. It was my mom's side that was the music side. She was the 10th of 12 kids, you might remember. And she and they all sang and or played something to some degree. There wasn't any one of them that couldn't carry a tune, but some of them went on to great professional success, and a lot of them wound up, more local and regional success. But I had plenty of influence, plenty of inspiration, plenty of just learning, seeing how it goes. And music was always a family thing, always a joyful thing, always just a, like I said, a wonderful gift to be born into this world, right? From day one.
One of your relatives, your grandfather's brother, did a jazz record. I heard that in some interview.
Yeah. He, my grandfather, my mom's dad, was one of 3 sons that all played piano. And my grandfather was like the consummate showman. He was the American songbook guy, and he would entertain crowds, and he was just a real crowd pleaser kind of guy. His other brother, though, his youngest brother was like a Kerouac. He was like a comet, and this guy was like the mean jazz guy who would just like burn it down, and he was like, But then the third brother was the one who actually got I think a Columbia or Atlantic Jazz
What was his name?
Bob.
Bob Lucca?
Bob Stevenson.
Bob Stevenson, okay.
And and he was really good, man. A really great jazz pianist. And so I shamefully, I still don't know enough of his work and his career, but one of my uncles, slash my godfather, the youngest of the 12, is like the bookkeeper for the family. Like, he's the archivist, and he knows, and he's got all these old recordings of these guys. And yeah, I mean, like, what a cool thing, for sure, you know.
Would you do a jazz standards record? Would that be something that would interest you?
I would. I love crooning. I'm a big Harry Connick Jr. fan, and you know, I love Tony Bennett and all the the classic jazz vocalists. I've hinted at maybe doing a Christmas thing, which might touch. Brush up against the jazz standard thing, I think, because some of those tunes lean that way. But we'll see, you know. I don't know.
Pre-14, before life really started to happen, you were in the Michigan schools. Do you have any memories of like doing things in Michigan before you moved out to California?
Yeah, I mean,
like favorite places.
Certainly, yeah. No, as a kid growing up, you know, I loved going up north. You know, up north Michigan was always just kind of a vast wasteland of away from home.
Yeah.
But more specifically, like going up to Traverse City. And I remember as a kid, we took a tour of the Interlochen campus. And I remember thinking, oh, this might be a thing.
You didn't do Interlochen. You should have.
You go to Interlochen. Then I realized, that's a little different story, the kind of music I was making. But yeah, you know, like it wasn't long though before some of our first gigs were, you know, at junior high and high school events and stuff, and then you know, playing. I think we played for the Comcast local not public access, but yeah, I think they did like a. During the Jerry Lewis telethon, they would throw to like regional Comcast channels to do some stuff, and we got a gig doing that. And I was like,
"Did you have a band then? What was it called?"
We did, yeah. No, it was a 4-piece band. Our band was called Pup Galleon. Don't ask.
Okay.
Maybe. But yeah, because I grew up with one of my cousins in this large music making family. We were just peas in a pod from day one, you know, and I was the Robert Plant to his Jimmy Page. You know, he was the guitar guy, and I was the front man singer. And we were pretty legit at a very young age. I remember 10 years old, we played at my grandfather's 70th birthday party and blew everyone away with Johnny Be Good.
Wow, nice.
Like we were ready. We came with it, man. And he and I were in all of our junior high school bands together. And playing, you know, around town, getting snuck into clubs downtown Detroit to play, you know, like there was a club called the IROC, maybe in Hamtramck or something.
Oh, I remember that.
They let us play, but we had to leave as soon as we were done,
Yes.
because we weren't even 17 yet.
No. 14, probably 15,
Yeah. So I'll never forget, like the story I tell my kids a lot, because they got into the Chili Peppers in their junior high days, you know.
So you played with Toby Red, didn't you?
Crazy. Like the idea that I went to see the Chili Peppers at Lollapalooza in 92, and my daughter went to Bonnaroo in 2004 and saw them. And I'm just like, that's crazy to me. But I tell them the story about the time that I was, this was right before I went for Mouse Clubs. I might have been 15 at this point. But we played a homecoming event out in Milford. And we were rocking at that point. By that point, we were a pretty hardcore cover band that could play the top of the stuff. I mean, and we played they set us up in the cafeteria on this big stage, like huge riser stage. And I think we played 3 songs, maybe 2 or 3 songs. And then I think our third or fourth song was Suck My Kiss by the Chili Peppers. And the place exploded, went crazy, and a couple of yahoos from Milford, one of these dudes jumped up on the stage and decided to stage dive. 4 songs in the set, and that was it. They literally pulled the plug on the whole thing and shut it down. And we went to some after party afterwards, and we were rock gods. We were gods.
High five.
I was like, okay. I'm 15 years old. Someone hands me a big jug of wine, and I'm like, what do I do to deserve this?
Nothing. Well, what got you into acting? Was there a bug in school that maybe you were doing school plays or anything like that?
No, I mean, I wasn't, like I said, coming from a family of hams. I was never afraid to get up in front of people and do some lines or be in a play or something. But I was never, I never had designs for acting. That was just something that kind of came with the Mouse Club thing. I had the price of entry there was like, you got to be able to do some of that. And so I, dug deep. Okay. And then, on the show, learning the process of film and television.
There's the train, I promise you.
All right.
Got to do a train song. No, don't. Unless you know one. No. The train of thought left me when the train came by. Thanks a lot, train. That doesn't happen anymore. Well, you mentioned in one of your songs that John Coltrane was part of the equation. Really, did that John Coltrane record that you mentioned in one of your songs? We were talking about your life, it's a really detailed version of your life, if it's true.
Yeah, no, I call that the Wikipedia song. Like this is my "How do you do" song for those that have been following along at home, kind of thing. Just kind of telling the story about leaving Michigan and becoming a young TV guy, and then chasing love around the country, and but it was also like that song started off as a joke. I was basically like one day just watching TV with the audio off, and just kind of figuring out this finger picking thing, and then I started seeing how fast I could do it, And it just sounded like a country song, like an old, ditty thing, and so I just started rattling off like this freestyle thing, And before I knew it, I had like a whole verse, and I was like, wait, I need to maybe write this down. And so I chased it down, and like a half hour later, I had this song, and I'm like, oh my God, this was hilarious. I thought it was funny. I just thought it was a funny song. I played it for a buddy of mine, and he's like, bro, have you recorded that yet? And I'm like, nah, it's not, I don't know if I could do that. And he's like, yeah, you are. I said, I don't make music like that. Because you do now. So but yeah, that way you mentioned Coltrane because, I grew up with jazz in the water because again, some of the elder statesmen of my family the family trade, they were some really serious jazz musicians, and I knew the sensibilities of jazz and freestyle and improvisation and stuff. But when I later in high school got back into Coltrane, or someone introduced me to I had heard the name Coltrane a lot, but when I actually sat down and got into what made Coltrane, it was just like, you mentioned before the interview about Liz Longley speaking, writing your heart. Coltrane wrote my ear, like
melody.
Yeah, no, I get what he's saying. The idea that you could interpret what an instrumentalist is saying. He was the first artist that I really got that and just enjoyed listening to his work
There was a tangent that I didn't mean to go on, but I went on because it was in my notes. But back to your 14-year-old self auditioning for you didn't intend to audition for the Mouse Club. You did, but you got there.
No, right, yeah.
And you ended up, if you look at the graph on the Wikipedia page for the Mickey Mouse Club and you see who you overlap with, it's pretty impressive.
It's crazy.
A few people might have heard of. I didn't realize Matt Morris, because I've got some records by Matt Morris. I had no idea he was even part of that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch the show. I'm old.
No, of course. Yeah, not of course that you're old, but of course you didn't watch the show.
Of course you are. Look at that gray hair.
Matt is to this day probably the single most pound for pound talented individual I've ever worked with or ever known.
Lost track of him. He had a couple albums that I have, and
that's a whole separate podcast.
Okay.
That the life and times of Matt Morris is really fascinating as hell. He's covered it all. But I think he was just too talented for commercial music. That's a hard thing to swallow. Like, wait a second, how's that even possible? This guy, talk about people that you think should have a bigger audience. Come on.
Yeah.
That guy was just wild. And Timberlake saw that and thought the exact same thing. He was like, screw that. I'm going to get you out there. I'm going to do. And he spent a lot of money trying to get him out there. And even Timberlake, he can bring sexy back, but he still wasn't capable of getting the word out sufficiently enough for Matt Morris. And So he just, I think he had like his major commercial release. He had made an independent record part of that's phenomenal. And a couple singles and things, I think, along the way. But then he did, most of his success was in writing for other artists, for everyone from Kelly Clarkson to Cher to Joy Williams to, he's written some incredible songs. And
the paychecks roll in, same way?
Roll in.
Probably better.
Way better. Way better.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Well, for those who don't know, that same era brought us Christina Aguilera. We mentioned Justin, Britney Spears, Ryan Gosling. I kind of forgot he was part of that too. Gary Russell, someone you once listed as your closest friend, JC, was part of that that crew as well. A lot of people had that success, and I still don't quite understand how you have the same or more talent, and you are here in front of me. Hi.
Well, I mean, like I think.
It's not an insult, you know that.
No,
right?
no, and I appreciate that. But it was definitely that when the time came, just at the same time that like JC and Justin were getting ready to go off and do In Sync, I was getting into like the California counterculture thing, and I was like unplugging a bit from the mainstream thing.
Your shirt says a lot.
Right. I kind of walked away from the Hollywood spotlight thing and got into the crunchier side of the music scene and was trying to be a bit more of an authentic indie singer-songwriter. And, I at the same time, I kind of will admit that I felt inevitable as well, though, because that was my pedigree. All I was going to take is being like, oh, here's the one who went off and did the Dylan thing, like the real artist, like whatever. And at the end of the day, it's like, well, these guys went from the frying pan into the fire and built upon the impression and the fans that they had made along that way. Whereas when I went and did the more artsier independent thing, it was kind of like starting over because I had to reintroduce myself to people with a little more sophisticated sound or image or whatever it was. And I kind of had a chip on my shoulder for the first several years of my career where I just felt like, I was entitled to something that never emerged. And just, it took me some years in the business to realize like, well, no, man, there are lanes here, and there are if it just depends on what you're into it for, what you ultimately want, and what I've learned over decades now is that fulfillment was always at the core of it. And even back then, as a young guy, the idea of joining a boy band or something, it never sounded like a fulfilling thing. Would I love that? I would love to have had that money and the freedom to go do other artistic things on another higher caliber. Sure, maybe, but I've had a really fun time in the meantime. Like,
you connect with your fans in a way different way than those people
completely.
do. You have a very loyal group of people.
Yeah.
I've met them.
Yeah, they've made life really enjoyable, and it's been great.
There is a video. I didn't watch the show because wasn't intended for my age group. But a video of you and JC singing More Than Words, where you're killing it. You sound great even back then. You're like 14 or 15 at that point, right?
I was 15. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember the girl I was kind of into at the time. We were talking about it, and she said, this song is a classic song. We're gonna be hearing this song the rest of our lives on easy listening radio, and I think it's a classic song, and you got to do it. You got to do it on this show.
I still do hear it, actually.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just like you hear it come on, and it takes you right back to 1991, and that was a real treat to get to play an instrument on the song. No Mouseketeer on the Mickey Mouse Club had sat down and played an instrument on the show before, and I was like, check.
Yeah, no, it's part of the history. Your voice is still great. Actually, it probably is time for you to sing another song.
Okay. Yeah, man. Well, let's play that one that you mentioned. I guess we can play that one. It's not off of Heirloom, but unless we want to stick to just the.
No, this is a podcast that focuses on you and your career in general.
And this is a good time for this song for sure. It's called True Story. Rolled on out of Motown back in 91, left them bitter winters for the Florida summer sun, breaking hearts in theme parks, smiled for anyone who held the camera to my face and said, say cheese. Wound up on the telly with a twinkle in my eye. The twinkle disappeared that night I started getting high. And everything seemed so absurd until the time I finally heard the sound of Coltrane. It brought me to my knees. It's a long drive straight through the night, staring out the window, looking for the first signs of daylight. Just hold on tight with all of your might. You see, it takes the time it takes to get it right. So I pedaled across the country, wound up there in Hollywood. Left my high school sweetheart when I realized I could. Then she became a movie star. I took to sleeping in my car, still singing songs about her to this day. Case in point, drove myself to New York City, chasing love again. She moved me to tears, so I wound up moving in. But that apple got the best of me, so I packed up the rest of me, and I grabbed a cab, set straight to JFK. It's a long drive straight through the night, staring out the window, looking for the first signs of daylight. Just hold on tight with all of your might. You see, it takes the time it takes to get it right. So now I'm down in Nashville, this guitar in my hand. These days I'm only using words that I can understand. Singing songs I carry on, keep at it till I'm dead and gone. Maybe then my gravestone will say, it's a long drive straight through the night, staring out the window, looking for the first signs of daylight. Just hold on tight with all of your might. You see, it takes the time it takes to get it right. They say it takes the time it takes to get it right. Third time's a charm. You see, it takes the time it takes to get it right.
I agree with your friend. That definitely needed to be recorded. True story. Track from Tony Lucca on the Acoustic Alternatives podcast. We are at Grove Studios. This is a spot in Ypsilanti that you, if you're in the area, Detroit, Ann Arbor area, could also rent as a space to use for a podcast like I do. There's actually a podcast table to my left. I decided that I prefer this for these kind of performances because we get better videos. But there are 5 rooms in this building, so musicians looking for a place to get out of the garage and get into the studio, Grove Studios is here for you. Available 24/7, keypad operation. You could be here at 1 in the morning if that's the best time for you, 1 in the afternoon. There are actually times that it's a little cheaper, and those overnight hours are cheaper. So, you know, if you're one of those people looking at your budget, this is the biggest room. We're in the largest room, but there's rooms that are half the size. There's a room for DJs to practice their skills in. If you want to do your club practicing outside of the club, there's a spot for that. So I'm so grateful. If Grove had not invited me to this studio and encouraged me to be part of their, I'm not really part of the team. I'm not an employee here. It's just, without them, there would be no podcast. You and I would not be doing this. Nice. This doesn't work at WEMU where I work on a daily basis because you don't play the kind of music I play there. Yeah. But this is the kind of music I love to promote because this is where I live, musically speaking, for the most part in this singer-songwriter world where Tony's from, doing these, rock songs, but on acoustic guitar, essentially. Exactly. Because he's really kind of a rocker at heart. So thanks to Grove Studios, grovestudios.space. Check them out. They also sponsor a segment that I do on Sonic Coast, which is called the Acoustic Coffee Break. And the performances from all of my sessions, including the one that's happening today, will be featured at 3 o'clock each weekday, just randomly. Weird side story. I don't actually, maybe I won't tell this during the podcast. Maybe I will. Because we mentioned Liz Longley, I'll mention it. The songs that come up during that segment are random. Mm-hmm. And the Thursday that Liz Longley's song called Funeral for My Past came up was the day of my father's funeral. So that was just like a week ago. Wow. It was very like, whoa, hello, universe. Yeah. And I did not plan that. So anyway. Oh, man. Sorry for your loss. Thank you. Yeah. Well, eventually the Mickey Mouse Club ended, and the song that you just sang included a little reference to an actress who's Americans. I love that TV show. Yeah. I really enjoyed her in that. But you guys were also in something that Aaron Spelling put together. That was a really short-lived thing. I don't remember Malibu Shores.
No, thank God. It was, bad. I always say I'd probably still be in therapy if it had been long-lasting. It was what they call a mid-season replacement show back in the day before streaming, obviously. Yep. There was the fall TV preview, and all the new shows would debut in the fall, and if they didn't cut it, like come the halfway point in the season, they would cut those shows, and then they'd have to have shows queued up and fully produced and ready to replace those shows. This was one such show. So if you come in as a mid-season replacement show, you've already got the deck stacked against you, and it's really hard to kind of, you got to be really good to break through all that. And then they gave us like a death sentence kind of Saturday nights at 8 o'clock or something stupid. And it turns out I think it was just an old favor owed to spelling from NBC. Like they owed him a favor, and they thought that was going to be the thing. And they, thanks but no thanks. They kind of screwed him on the time slot, but. Yeah, it was an interesting thing. The show was called Malibu Shores, and myself and Carrie Russell, my former co-star from Mouse Club, co-starred together, playing opposite each other, and we were dating at the time and living together, which was just really surreal in hindsight. Of course, it was bizarre at the time, but it was just more trying than it was like, what the hell? How did this happen? But it was also where I learned a really kind of strange, important lesson that was going to serve me quite well going forward, I think. And that was that I had learned. I try to make this quick, but like there was an episode in the show where I was in the doghouse or whatever, and I was trying to make nice, and they had learned that I could sing and play, and that I had a music thing that I was aspiring as well, and so they said, well, he's going to serenade her from down outside her window, old school. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool. This could be my way of like branching out and entering into the music thing. And that's what I'm kind of here. That's kind of what brought me. So that'd be nice to transition into that way. And I was talking to someone from the crew who worked on another spelling show called The Heights.
I remember that.
Remember that one? Okay, right. Jamie Walters, The Heights. How do you talk to an angel? It's kind of a sensational thing. Yeah. And Jamie went on to take on a lot of fans, obviously, but even though The Heights was canceled eventually and the band disbanded and it just didn't continue on, he kept trying to get work in L.A. and then a handful of years later got cast on 90210 to play opposite Tori Spelling's character, who was like the belle of the cast on that because she's Spelling's daughter. And it was great. And people were like, oh my God, Jamie Walters is back. This is great. And then I think like on a very special episode of 90210, the writers wrote him as an abusive boyfriend. And like there was a scene where he like shoved her down some stairs or something awful. And that was it for Jamie Walters. Like no music career.
Yeah.
And someone told me this whole thing, like, so be careful about the music thing because if you do it through film and television, like you're at the mercy of that. And then they also describe that there's this weird ism that is like this weird catch-20 double standard thing where if you establish yourself as a music artist first, you can dabble in acting all you want. But if you establish yourself as an actor first, specifically a television actor, your chances of getting into a credible music career are like slim to none. And there are few exceptions. I mean, there's a long list of guys like Kevin Bacon, Kevin Costner, Billy Bob Thornton. They're all great. They can sing and play and they love music and they still do it on some level, but they never got that truly credible music
hit
career.
Single.
Right. Yeah, right. Never had a big hit single and were never quite taken as seriously. Their core fans still love them and adore them, but music critics just were never going to get in there. And so I was like, yeah, well, I don't want that to happen. So careful what you wish for, but I'm going to, so once Malibu Shores was over and the acting roles kind of dried up, that's when I was like, no, man, I gotta get back to this music thing because that's what I really want to do.
It was 97 or so, right? So Satisfied?
97 was when So Satisfied came out, yeah. So I, towards the beginning of that year, I was just really kind of tired, realizing that I was not an actor at heart. And going out for all these auditions and things and stuff. I didn't have the heart, and I was terrible at auditioning. I could act. I was fine. I would get me on the set. I'm, hit my mark, take after take, whatever I got to do. Stunt work, I'm down. But the audition process was just grueling, and I was terrible at it. I would just get nervous. And meanwhile, I was getting roles here and there, and there were friends of mine that were like true diehard actors that, should be getting these roles. And it just was weird to me. But I came home from an audition one day, like after breaking up with Carrie and going through all that stuff, and I was mad and sad and whatever and feeling, and I grabbed my guitar and I wrote a song in like 45 minutes top to bottom, like just banged it out. And it's a song I still play to this day.
Oh,
It's
wow.
a fan favorite song. But after that, I never sat and just wrote a song in one sitting like that, a complete full song. And I just was like, whoa, that's what I want to do. And
Made your heart smile.
Yeah, exactly. And I called my manager and I'm like, I hate to break this to you, but I'm done. I'm going to take my money and I'm going to make a record. And I'm going to go full bore in that direction. And that was it. I kind of swore off the acting thing after that and never looked back.
I have a digital version of that record, so I don't actually know who plays on it or where it was recorded. Do you remember making that record?
So Satisfied?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll never forget making that record. I got with a jazz pianist who was looking to kind of produce singer-songwriters as well and maybe implement a little bit of the jazz thing if the artist wanted that. But he had a home studio and he was like down to make this work. But I wanted to make a jazzy kind of record. I wanted to take and do like, Norah Jones meets Sting. It was before Norah Jones, even in 97. But like Sting, Bring on the Night, like get some heavy hitter
Branford
jazz
Marsalis,
cats to come,
yeah.
come on the
Omar
record.
Hakim.
So we did. We made like a jazz singer-songwriter album that was so sophisticated and so like.
Who
so
was
out
on
there.
it?
There was a bass player named Todd Sikafus who is just an amazing wizard of bass, specifically acoustic bass, upright bass. He years ago became Ani DeFranco's bassist and toured the world with just the two of them, him on upright and her doing her thing. And whoa, he learned her entire catalog before he took the gig. And I'm like, what? Just incredible. Todd Sikafus, John Rangel was the pianist producer. There was a guy who played percussion on it named Fred Walker who one day decided he was going to turn his life around, and he started with his name, and he went by Durf Recklaw. Totally wild. My cousin Cole, it was my first album, and he was my brother growing up, like making music, and I wasn't gonna do this without him if I could help it. So I had him come out. He got to play guitar, Larry Carlton style guitar with like all these jazzers, Thomas White was the drummer at the time. A couple other featured players that jumped on there, but otherwise, yeah, it was just awesome to be in the studio for days on end and just making this record and hearing these songs come to life. And
That's cool.
It was unforgettable.
Well, we mentioned earlier, 13th record is Heirloom, the one we're talking about today. Tons of EPs, some live records, a couple of DVDs. I got one of them here.
Oh, my gosh.
I have to mint, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll tell you later how I acquired that one.
Okay.
Songwriting apparently was a little bit difficult for this record because you went back in time. But in general, do you like songwriting on your own or do you like songwriting with others? Because I know you're doing both.
Yeah, no, I enjoy writing alone when it happens, and it just seems to kind of I don't make nearly as enough time for it as I should be at this point in my career, but I since moving to Nashville and learning the whole Nashville co-write scene and becoming a member of the writing community down there, you realize having 2-3 sets of eyes and ears on it, you're only going to get a better song. There's no way you're not going to get a better song. Someone told me early on when I got down there, like, okay, yeah, but you still got to write alone enough so that you can trust your instincts. That can really take more chances than you would with other people in the room looking over your shoulder. You got to maintain that sense of freedom and that making strong choices on your own. And that's been true. That's been really true. I have, the last few years, kind of really dove deep into the custom songwriting thing, which basically, people contact me about writing a custom song for like an engagement or a marriage or an anniversary or a loved one or the passing of someone or whatever it is, and I get them on a Zoom call and
You'll learn all the things you need to know.
I analyze them.
Yes.
And then I write a song by myself using all of their inspiration, and all it takes is a good framing a good story and finding a good title and everything that they share with you, and then I'm able to write like the wind. It feels great. And so that's where I'm still getting my solo write time is on these custom songs. But yeah, I become a better songwriter after every co-write that I have, even the ones that are shit that you don't come home with anything. I'm a better songwriter now.
Well, like at any job, you should get better the older you get,
Exactly.
like the more you're doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting a call from Stacy P. from Plymouth. Oh, she wants to know, does melody come first or do lyrics come first or does it kind of depend on the song?
It's been an age-old question, man. And yeah, early on when I would write, it was usually started by the guitar sitting on the couch, just like coming up with a cool riff.
Noodling,
yeah. These melodies come, a vibe, a mood comes, and then you find a lyric to match it. That would be the thing. Occasionally, like I'd be walking around town or going on a hike or something, and a melody would come to me with maybe a lyric to it, like, oh, okay. And then you got to get home and get to the guitar and find the key that it's in and learn the song you just kind of wrote. That's always been fun as well. Then again, I get to Nashville and you find out how they write in Nashville. 9 times out of 10, all the great songs, certainly all the country songs, most of the country songs, start with the title.
Yeah. You build it around that.
That's the ultimate takeaway from a song is a title. Like when you can, hey, have you heard that song,
Let the River Flow, whatever.
Yeah, Let the River Flow. Oh, yeah, I remember that song. Yeah, because the title spoke to the rest of the rest of the song just points back to that title. And a good title, you can sit there and be like, I remember was in a writing session with this lady one time, and she was going through a list of titles that she just had on her phone. And one of them was Seeing Angels. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, no, I like that. And we sat there, me on one couch, her on the other, and we talked about it. We philosophized about, like...
What does it mean?
Yeah, like, brainstormed, like, all the various angles that you could reach. And then we got to it. We're like, yeah, oh, man. It's like a good hour and change before I even picked up the guitar to start playing through it, And so I've really come to enjoy the title thing a lot. And so I've tried to get better at acquiring and accruing like a list of great titles.
Maybe I'll share some with you.
Okay.
I've been writing poems, not recently, but in my lifetime, things that I can't put to music because I don't have that talent at all. I have a different
write
talent.
a word, get a third.
There you go.
That's the rule.
Well, your career has taken some turns. We talked about the acting thing, but it seems another did you really need to do that? But you did. Earlier in your career, season 2 of The Voice, a 4-chair turn.
Yeah.
When at that point, I mean, it seemed like your name was already known. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was watching, but it was strange to go like, I already have records by him. What is he doing on The Voice?
I mean, like, that was a lot of the fans were like, what?
It wasn't a bad thing. I actually liked that show.
Exactly. It was a timing thing for sure. Like most things, it was a timing thing for me in that like I had made a handful of albums at that point and felt like that body of work would always speak for itself. And I, don't have to live it up or down. It's like, that's what it was. And I'm proud of it. I had certainly kind of reached a plateau of exposure and ticket sales and album sales without any major push behind what I'm doing as an indie artist, and navigating the changes from like MySpace to Facebook, and this is pre-Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff now, like trying to figure out all that stuff. So I was like, well, maybe there's a thing here, and it seemed like a cooler thing than Idol, even though I don't think I was ever eligible for Idol simply because of the
record contract,
record contract thing. And okay, you mean to tell me that people on this show can have had success or like, careers
and they're nice to their guests
and they let these people, they let these people kind of get a second crack or expand their brand or whatever. And then the Christina thing, obviously, like, it just was like, I kind of have to see what would happen if I went and did this.
Yeah.
And the curiosity killed the cat.
It's a little awkward, wasn't it?
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go. I'm going to see how it goes. And it, to a great degree, it had that impact. Like I was able to go back out on tour after that And you know, like everyone came out of the woodwork. All the old fans that maybe died off, they were like, "Oh, he's back!" And
Congrats.
they came out and made a lot of new fans, and was selling a lot more tickets and more merch, and things were. It was great. It really kind of gave my career a second wind at that point, which helped me through another handful of albums.
Awesome.
And,
Do you have people that come up and say, "I saw you with Maroon 5, touring with you"? Yeah.
exactly. You know, like, hey man, a lot of people in the industry that didn't know who I was at that time.
It's a win.
All eyes were on that show
Yeah,
in
no.
season 2, and it really kind of tapered off after that. And I was like, okay, I had a moment when the show was having a moment, and hey, let's go.
I've been occasional watching it, usually when I know somebody from Michigan is on it that I've had
yeah.
interactions with, the Laith El-Sadis and the Joshua Davises,
Yeah.
Michelle Shamuel. I mean, people that I've interviewed in different occasions
Yeah.
when they were just, my friends from the local scene. So that's usually what gets me to watch it.
Yeah,
Or
Michelle's a Nipsey girl, right?
yeah, well, she was. I don't know where she is anymore. Connecticut?
Maybe.
I lost track of her. But either way, it was good to see you on there and just, to give that, as you mentioned, a little shot in the arm.
Yeah.
On the occasions of, like on that show where you've done covers, you've focused more on the classic rock era. If you had to do a more modern singer's song of like maybe the last 10 years, don't do one right now, but who would you be covering if you're talking about a modern singer?
Yeah, I don't know. I think doing like that Nathaniel Rateliff song.
SOB?
Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun to try to pull off.
That'd be fun. You can
I mean,
say
let me
those.
say 99 Problems, but a bitch ain't one.
Right. I mean,
kind of. But no, that would have been a fun one to get after. But that was around that time too, though, so I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know, man. As far as like artists that are out now that in the last 10 years or so that I would have liked to have covered, I don't know. Maybe. That's a good question, man. You got me thinking.
Well, you were warming up with Jolene, which you did release technically to your supporters on an Heirloom Covers EP, which is
Right.
really, really good.
Thanks, man.
I
Yeah.
mean, pulling out Bluer Than Blue was like, ooh, that hits a soft spot in my. I love that song.
That was my first favorite song.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, cool. I mean, just hearing you sing it was just he nails that. A Case of You wearing Joni. That's probably my favorite Joni song.
Yeah.
River too, the same thing.
Exactly.
It's hard to pick one of those two.
Yeah.
But just it's nice to see you pulling those out again. But that seems to live only for people who supported you in the Heirloom pre-sale.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't arguably. I wasn't gonna like try to sell that or put that out.
Licensing costs and all
right,
that.
all that stuff. So it just worked as like a nice bonus gift for the fans that supported the project, and
What was the response other than the one I just gave you? Did you have a lot of people saying, "Oh my God"?
Yeah, no, the fans were stoked with what I shared on that little covers project, and it again, a handful of them being ones that I played back in the day, and then when I was playing some of these other songs that wound up on Heirloom, it just was a nice big, bouquet.
Sure. On a previous cover record, you covered a Springsteen song from they just did the movie. What did you think? What did you think of the movie? I thought
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I know. I gotta see it.
it was really good.
Deliver Me From Nowhere.
Yeah.
And I gotta see it because that was when I discovered Nebraska by Bruce Springsteen, I realized I like Bruce Springsteen. I just don't like the E Street Band. I was never crazy about the E Street Band sound.
Okay.
Like the 12 string and the bells and the sax and just like it just seemed like a carousel kind of sound that I was never into. But I appreciated his storytelling and his
Yeah,
songs. He
right.
writes great songs, But when I heard Nebraska, I was like, oh, that's the real deal. Wow. Okay, I get it. I felt ashamed. I felt embarrassed. Like, okay, I see why you call him the boss.
I had bought Hungry Heart as a 7-inch single, and I kind of missed Nebraska because it wasn't promoted at all.
Right.
And so, the next thing was the big record. So I appreciated Nebraska in hindsight because of the same reasons you did, because I liked some of his songs, but I was never a big fan. And then eventually, now I own all of his records because I learned to appreciate the songwriting beyond the band, similar to Dylan's. Like, I don't love Dylan's voice, but people have covered his songs so well that I've learned to love his versions of songs too, because they're great songs.
That's the thing. Yeah, for sure.
But hear the Indigo Girls sing them, they're much better.
Yeah. Sean Colvin.
Yeah. Anybody with a voice. Heirloom is the latest record from Tony Lucca, who's having a coughing fit, so maybe I shouldn't make him sing now.
I'm good. No, sorry. Just getting over things.
What song would you like to sing?
Let's play. Talk about that co-write thing and how an idea can kind of come out of more than just one person's imagination. But one of the first co-writes I got when I got to Nashville was with this guy named Tom Beaupre, who was a founding member of Florida Georgia Line. Right. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. I'm going to go write a big Dixie Cup tailgate song and put my kids through college. Let's go.
Yeah, why not?
You know? And, well, it turns out Tom's not so much part of the creative team of Florida Georgia Line and not much of a songwriter at that point. He just kind of started as well. And he wanted to write something a little more in the vein of like James Taylor. And I'm like, they can write James Taylor. That's fine. I can write James Taylor.
The other JT.
Anything, yeah. Sure. You want James Taylor? But someone had challenged me down in Nashville because I was concerned about not being able to write country because I don't have a country story. I don't come from a country background. And he's like, look, man, country is just telling your story wherever it originated in whatever form it was. Just tell the details that people can relate to, whether they came from that or not. You know, I can play you a great country song right now about a lifestyle that you never participated in, but you can see it, you can imagine it, and you can relate somehow. And I took that to heart. But he said, you're from the Midwest. Like, you know, did you ever loiter in front of the 7-Eleven and just hang out? I'm like, no, but I see where you're going with this. And he said, write a song about it, you know, being at 7-Eleven when you're a kid, screwing off, you know. So I said, we can write a James Taylor song, but we're going to, so long as we can get the word 7-Eleven in there somewhere. And he's like, sure, let's do it. But we also, you know, a lot of great songs, it's not verse or melody. It's not melody or music. It's not even the title sometimes. It's a conversation. You know, you worry about what to write. You're going to sit there for a couple hours, banging your head, going through your phone like, I'm out of ideas. I don't have any ideas. I find it like if you just sit and connect with the writer that you're writing with and you have a conversation between two songwriters, eventually someone's going to be like, let's write that, you know? And so we had a conversation about the hospitality of the folks of Nashville. And about when you're passing through, like I did for so many years on tour, and you should come to Nashville. Like, yeah, well, let me know. I can never do anything for you. And I always kind of kept that at an arm's length, like Southern, you know, performative hospitality. And I didn't buy it. Then you move to Nashville, and you realize it's not bullshit. And people look open their arms, and they really want to look out for each other. And it's less and less that now because it's getting so crowded. But for a long time, man, it was definitely that. And we wrote a song about it called Back in '87. It's on Heirloom. Back in '87, the Main Street 7-Eleven, Kenny called you out for kissing Christine. When I saw that sucker punch coming, well, I knocked that sucker out. You say you owe me one, but you'd have done the same thing. The kind of thing you never think about, it means everything. I might drag you kicking and screaming through the crazy ups and downs. I might be the voice of reason when it can't be found. I might take the scenic route, a few more miles to sweat it out. Still it's me you can believe in, and I won't let you down. 2010 came the rising of the Cumberland. Your home sweet home and all you've known washed away. You said, yeah, I got you covered, you and the wife come stay with me. You say that's the kind of favor you never get to repay. I said, it's my word that I gave you, ain't gonna have it any other way. I might drag you kicking and screaming through the crazy ups and downs. I might be the voice of reason when it can't be found. I might take the scenic route, a few more miles to sweat it out. Still it's me you can believe in, and I won't let you down. You say you owe me one, but you'd have done the same thing. The kind of thing you never think about, it means everything. I might drag you kicking, screaming through the crazy ups and downs. I might be the voice of reason when it can't be found. I might take the scenic route, a few more miles to sweat it out. Still it's me you can believe in, and I won't let you down. Yeah, it's me you can believe in, and I won't let you down. You might give me every last reason, still I won't let you down.
It's one of my favorites. An heirloom. Tony Lucca is part of the Acoustic Alternatives podcast today at Grove Studios. Back in 87. Well, back in 87, I was a college student at Oakland University working full-time at a record store. That's what I was doing in my life. Those 10 years working in record retail really informed the rest of my life, quite honestly. Yeah. Without the knowledge that was poured into my head during that time, I don't think I would have grown up to be who I am today.
Wow, I love that.
That retail experience, too, really taught me how to treat other humans.
Oh, my God, right?
When you get treated poorly by another individual, you go, I don't want to do that.
I've never treated you right.
Yeah. So
yeah, I feel like everybody, young people should work in the service industry or the 100%. Retail industry at some point or another, just for that.
Right out of high school.
Alone. Right out of high school. Get out there, learn how to interact with people, learn how to be, do something because it needs to be done, and learn how to treat people.
You may not like it, but you should do it.
Yeah.
Like the guy who cut my meat at Kroger the other day was not very friendly.
Oh.
A kid. He needed a little bit more, niceness in his world. Anyway, that is irrelevant to your music. Thank you for doing that. I really enjoyed that. Yeah. I didn't ask you to play any songs in particular, so you're nailing it, buddy.
Glad that one hits.
Yeah, no, I love that one. So you've been doing this music thing. You had some help. You had some record label involvement, but it's been largely you. Yeah. So you've had control of a lot of the aspects. So I wanted to ask if there was things that over your career you've regretted either doing, whether it's like the wrong font in an email that was unreadable, or a song you wish you hadn't put out, or just something you think about like, damn it, I really wish I hadn't done that. Yeah. It's already out there though.
There's a couple of choices that you make along the way. I had a song where I used a term that, like on paper, the term could or should have been in air quotes, but like when you're singing and listen to a song,
can't see him.
You can't see him, so you lose the context or the reference or and it got misinterpreted, and it was just, as a songwriter, you learn that right instantly. You're like, yeah, okay, sarcasm or something, like trying to be like passive aggressive in a lyric is like, no, it's up for interpretation. You got to remember that. So
and they don't always read the lyrics
spell
either.
That out, right? So I when I finally put a version out into the world on a record, I changed it to something else. That was cool. I don't know, man. I do look back. I enjoyed my time on The Voice. And I, not much about that I would have changed, except, like I took that little time out in my indie pursuit a little too far, in that, like, instead of showing up as a artist through and through with a clear picture of where things were going, I took it as a time to be like, well, what do I know? Clearly, like, what I've been trying hasn't totally worked, so maybe it's time to try something different and open myself up to whatever might come of this. And I think that was cool and a good step to take, but I feel like I didn't perform or represent myself as thoroughly and full-throated as an artist as I could have and maybe should have. But again, I don't spend a whole lot of time in the rear view. It's never
been a
useful waste of time. So yeah, I don't regret it, and it was fine. But like, I realized that very quickly. after it was over, and after I signed Adam's deal and did those dates with Maroon 5, and then that deal went away very quickly, and I just felt like, damn it, I took the bait again. I got fished, and I clicked on the scam email, and now I got a bug on my computer.
Start all over again.
So that next album that I made after that, the eponymous Tony Lucca album, that's why it was self-titled, was because like I really felt like, no, this is as me as I've ever wanted to be, and that's why it's called this. Like I just felt like it's time to own this thing again, and so. Ever since then, I feel like I've stayed on a pretty clear path.
That might have been the last time that we had a couple of sessions together, and I think we did a session for that record.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
That was definitely when I was celebrating the wheels and riff,
Yes, it's a rock record for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the Tony Lucca community is very strong. You've had to shift a lot, especially during the pandemic, to online interaction with folks. Mm-hmm. Did you find learning that stuff to be a pain in the ass, or did you actually enjoy? Because that's a whole, like, to be a musician today, you can't just be a good musician, a good singer. You need to know all of the things.
Yeah. And it felt like I was uniquely qualified for the moment. And as it was unfolding, I was like, we're all artists. We're keeping tabs on each other. We're all kind of tuning into each other's live streams and like comparing notes and like audio, video, and performance and how they're connecting. What are they doing? What's working?
What camera are you using?
Right. Yeah. What type of cameras and audio are you doing? And we all realized, like, man, if we're going to keep their attention to this thing, we got to get it right. You got to get it to where it sounds and looks good. But again, talking directly to a camera and being personable and being authentic.
It's a one-sided conversation.
Into a camera is something I've been doing since I was 15. So it's like, because I would watch some friends of mine who are the best, in my opinion, of like the singer-songwriter performer genre, but seemed really awkward and uncomfortable and like off-putting or whatever in this live stream, era we were dragging ourselves through. And so I had that. I had plenty of songs to play. I had, so I did the Facebook thing for a while and was Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I was trying to do the best I could for a while. But then I was like, all right, I gotta pause this, do a deep dive on like OBS and like how to, get a multi-camera thing happening and how to like get some real audio and do this nice and create a format and maybe give it a name or something.
I see the sticker.
And before long, I had a neon sign on my wall and I had a fan base and subscriptions and all this kind of stuff. And it was like, all of a sudden now my career, Tony Lucca had become the Moverb Lounge. And I had something to promote that wasn't just me. I had this thing, which, was a neon sign and a live stream, but it was the community. It was completely the community that I was excited about, and it grew and fortified so strong during that COVID time, and they saved me, and my music saved them, and it was like just such an incredible bond that I just like the survivor's guilt of having a Jim Dandy freaking COVID experience. Like I thrived. It did really well with it.
That's great.
But it was also like if these people are taking like. We realized right away people were being so generous with their tips and stuff, right? Because they had all this expendable income that they used to spend on parking and drinks and tickets and merch and babysitters and you name it, that they had sitting there now. And they're like, just throwing it at their favorite artists who were getting them through this crazy ass time. If you look at it similarly, I had all this energy. I was busting my ass as a touring musician, traveling. Like now I'm sitting on my ass. How can I reallocate that energy towards something that's going to work better here? So it was just like, I just had to reframe the workload and stay busy and be a producer and produce a show. And, and before I knew it, it just had, like I said, it had a life of its own. I enjoyed the workflow and, it was cool. It was a cool thing, man.
I'm glad it worked out because not everybody made it through. Not everybody made it, not necessarily by living, but it just meant like the careers. Some of them just fell off because they couldn't make. They had to shift gears, take a different. Like I'm going to become a nurse or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad for you that it worked
Thanks,
out.
Man. Yeah.
You've also had some pretty decent opportunities recently. I know you've collaborated with friends in the past. You've got your TFDI thing, which I got to see the revival of last summer, which was really cool.
That was amazing.
Your buddy Keaton and you are both touring with a country artist now, correct?
Yeah, man. Talk about, again, just something I did not see coming at all.
You being a sideman, I didn't see coming at all.
No, I mean, really, like, that was never on my bingo card. And basically, yeah, Keaton had joined, and I never could fully get my head around why Keaton had done that. I mean, he had become like a really prominent side guy and was playing with like Chris Cornell, and he played with some serious acts, and then all of a sudden he took this gig full time, and I'm like, and he moved to Nashville, and I'm like, what is up with this gig? Like, really? You know, like, I was shocked at that. But he kept like envisioning me on this gig, and I was like, well, after COVID and we started trying to get back on the horse, you know, I was eager to get out there. The venues were eager to get out there. The core fans were eager to get back out there. But like the rest of the people that would normally fill a venue are the people on the fence, friends of the people that love to get. And those people weren't ready to get back out yet. They were still in their sweats and they were enjoying their streaming. And like life was like, you know, and that was hard to swallow because like the effort was the same. I had to get in the car and drive 10 hours and, you know, go play a show and book and settle up and then, you know, booking and promoting and doing all that stuff only to see the margins like drastically dwindle, you know, like, fuck. So I was just like really less and less of what I was doing was feeling fulfilling. You know, I was like, man, it was a bummer. It was like heartbreak, really. And then I got a call from the former guitar player of Brett's band, and he was like, hey, man, I'm going to be stepping away from this gig, and if you're interested, Keaton said you're the guy I should call, and like that. And I'm like, I don't know, man. It's not really my thing. Like, I can maybe fill in for some dates. Like, what do you got? What's coming up? And he goes, well, we have 3 weeks in Europe in November. What's your November look like? I'm like, 3 weeks in Europe. I look at my calendar. I'm booked solid every weekend, and this was in August. Every weekend from August, September, October, right up to November, and then nothing. I had nothing in my calendar. I was like,
that's a door.
I was like, apparently I was waiting for you to call. So I said, I'll go to Europe for 3 weeks and play. You know, I could do it. I'm sure I could do it. It can't be that hard. And I went to Europe for 3 weeks, and I was like, you know what? And he offered me the job, and I was like, man, my wife and I talked it through, and I looked at kind of comparing apples and oranges, and I said, well, we'll do it for a year and see how it goes, you know, and see how we're feeling at home with the coming and going. And it really was the same footprint, you know, as far as my time away from home goes. But now I'm not driving, I'm not booking, I'm not promoting, I had all this bandwidth free up so that when I would come home now, my time at home was like, I can see straight. I can manage these 3 or 4 days off the road and like get a ton of things done and write some songs and work on niche pet projects of mine like the Shotgun re-release and like just all these little things and the Kickstarter this past year. And it just made more and more sense. And so I'm heading now into my 4th year on the gig, which I still can't believe.
And we didn't mention his name. It's Brett Young.
Brett Young. Yeah,
you just said Brett. I knew it was,
Brett.
but the listener may not.
Brett Young, yeah. You know, he's had a lot of success. In and around COVID time, he had like 7 straight number ones, which was just pretty magical. Which in country is you know a modest amount of number ones, but he's got, you know, he's in most genres, you're a legacy artist at that point. Yeah. You're going to be able to tour the rest of your life with all those number ones. Yeah. And one of his is a certified diamond now. And so to be able to get out on stage each night and play the opening riff of his certified diamond song to thousands of people each night, it's so much fun. And I'm constantly bewildered at how adjacent it is to the dream I had as a kid. Yeah. Playing for thousands of people up on stage, right? You know, being a semi-rock star, you know, even though it's 20 feet away from where I might have envisioned myself initially, like, it's the same ride, man. It's the same roller coaster, and without all the stress. Yeah. And so I love it. I really do. I enjoy it, and you know, I eventually want to get back out there with the fans and get back to touring and stuff, and that'll happen in time.
First time I used this room for a podcast, I was recording a band because I couldn't do it in the smaller studio down the hall. And you're standing in the same spot as one of your Brett Young bandmates, Katie Larson from The Accidentals,
Oh,
was here
yeah.
with The Accidentals. And I actually had to scrap the session because the sound didn't turn out. No. Yeah, I know. So they sent me some live footage and we just did a Zoom interview. It's the only Zoom interview I've done. But anyway. Well, let's wind it up with another song from Heirloom or wherever you want to go. You don't have to do an Heirloom song.
Okay, yeah, man.
I'm going to look at the clock real quick because I know we got a booking right after this and I got to get out of their way. Oh, crap. Okay.
We got time?
We got one more song.
Quick one? Okay.
Then I got to get out of their way.
All right, well, this is another one I was talking about, the title thing, and this guy brought in this title one day. I was like, man, it's so good. From the top and the bottom of my heart was his idea, and I'm like, oh, so good. So this is the one I got my mom to sing harmony on because it kind of has like that lullaby vibe to it, and I just remember as a kid, she always had a great, great voice. But yeah, top and the bottom. Darling, rest your eyes and lie beside me now. I'll do my best to ease your mind somehow. Just try and let it go. And baby, save your troubles for another day. I'll stay right here and you can dream away. Just in case you didn't know, I love you from the morning to the dead of night, like a high tide to the pale moonlight. There ain't no ending and there ain't no start. I love you from the mountain to the ocean floor, all the way from here to heaven's door, from the top and the bottom of my heart. Sometimes I know that I ain't all that I should be. It's like I dropped the ball and I can't see what should be so clear to me. And other times it's like you don't even have to say a word. Your lips don't move, but I've already heard you tell me my love is all you need. I love you from the morning to the dead of night, like a high tide to the pale moonlight. There ain't no ending and there ain't no start. I love you from the mountain to the ocean floor, all the way from here to heaven's door, from the top and the bottom of my heart. Oh, 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 oh. I love you from the morning to the dead of night, like a high tide to the pale moonlight. There ain't no ending and there ain't no start. I love you from the mountain to the ocean floor, all the way from here to heaven's door, from the top and the bottom of my heart, from the top and the bottom of my heart, from the top and the bottom of my heart.
So beautiful. Tony, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I really enjoyed
Always
our
a pleasure,
conversation.
man. It really is. Yeah, just enjoy your insightful, well considered questions, and you're great, man. Thank you.
Heirloom is the new one. Show that to a camera.
Hey.
People listening to the audio version, you can't see it unless you go to Tony's website. Tony's website is
TonyLuca.com.
grovestudios.space. If you want to check out where I did this, if you want to rent the space yourself, somebody's going to come in and kick me out in a minute, and they're going to see what it looks like when somebody's left over. Oops. Good safe travels to you on the road, and I will see you tomorrow, although that doesn't count for people who are listening to this because that will be in the past, but I'll see you at 20 Front Street tomorrow.
Right on, man. Thanks so much.
Take care. Next session is coming up. It's number 99 in the series of podcasts I've done. I met this couple when they were not a couple, and now they are. They were married to other people when I first met them, and now they make great music separately and together. Rochelle Clark and Jason Denning up next on the next podcast.